It's one of my fun stories. We were at a Pro Bowl.
What? This bag right here? Football.
We were the equipment staff for the AFC. One of the honorary captains that week was Jim Kelly. So I got my ball bag out there at practice. Jim kind of reaches into the ball bag, pulls out one of the balls and goes, "Oh, man, I would have won one of those Super Bowls if I had a football like this." Because that predates ball prep. They didn't prep balls back then. They were rolling them out there, brand new out of the box. Hi, I'm Chad. Today we're gonna show you how to prep an NFL football, taking it from this to that. All right, this is the first step. We're brushing off all the preservative on the ball. Wilson puts a preservative on it so that the ball hide won't dry out. We're brushing that off and we're just waking up the leather. We've got game balls as well as practice balls. We've got all our balls laid out. We've deflated them. And now all we're doing is brushing them. Practice balls, we try to rotate in anywhere between 8 to 10 new balls a week for the quarterbacks. And then game balls, it's as needed. We have a stockpile right now and we're just adding to that stockpile. Like I said, we only have 4 balls that we need to replace for this week. So it was a pretty good week. I think the process is really interesting. It is lengthy. I wouldn't say tedious. I just think it's really interesting. Everyone's got their own way of doing it. Every quarterback has their preferences. Not a long process here. You're not gonna finish the ball with the first brush. You just kinda wanna get all that stuff off. Step 2 here, we're going to start oiling the footballs. And we're trying to add moisture. We want a soft feel, and oil helps us achieve that. Whenever you're doing anything with the footballs, we're always mindful of the laces. We use our stitch mark there at the top of the football as kind of our landmark, and we don't go inside of that. We want to keep a nice, clean, raised lace. It's just one of the many steps. We're adding moisture. I want to get a nice even coat, consistency throughout the football on anything that we're doing. Too much in one spot on one panel can create an undesirable feel. And it's an expedited aging process while also trying to be preservers. When you first got a ball when you were a kid, you'd take it outside, throw it on the turf a couple times with your friends to give it that nice broken in feeling. That's all we're doing here. We're just doing it in a more controlled environment. This process has changed considerably from when I started here in 2017. Everyone's kind of using the same basic template and the same products in different ways. We're in a hotter environment here. We're in a hot, dry climate. What we're trying to do is add more moisture to the football to prevent the football from drying out. What we need isn't going to be the same as what a cold weather team will need. We'll also continue to moisturize the footballs for practice. Practice balls see way more reps than game balls will. So once, maybe twice a week, I'll go back through the balls, check the PSI, and then add some moisturizer to the footballs to extend their life. And I'll push this out. This is the next step. Ideally, we have sun, and hopefully it'll still burn off at some point. But as I finish a full hamper of balls, that's why I like to work on hampers. It makes it mobile for these first few steps, and we can utilize the sun and the heat to accelerate this process a little bit. All right, step 3, balls are oiled. We're gonna let them sit outside, start to absorb that oil, maybe get a little bit of heat on them also. After applying the oil and letting the balls cook outside for a little bit, we brought them back inside, let them cool off, and now we're going to apply some leather balm. It's another conditioner. It's gonna help soften the leather. It's also gonna give it a little bit of a tackiness. Step 5, we're gonna brush the balm into the ball. It's a soft bristle brush that's gonna kind of distribute the balm throughout the ball. We're also not trying to work it in too much. Try to keep a brush head specific for that product. I wouldn't want to use the same brush head that I was using for mud for balm because the brush heads can tend to get dirty. We'll also clean our brush heads in between processes as they start to get a little gunked up. I'm letting the balm cook on them in the sun for a little bit. Just rotating the balls. We talk about consistency a lot with this process. You don't want one side of the ball to bake in the sun and not have the other side bake in the sun. So we're just rotating this. Not too hot, not too cold. Push it inside so they can cool off. Step 6, we're gonna put a little conditioner on the ball. Yeah, let this sit on and dry, and then you're gonna do mud after that. The ball number, the logo there is a reference for like the size that you want, the dollop size. Don't wanna put too much. Step 7 now, we're gonna mud the footballs and create our mud mixture. We're gonna use our football/baseball rubbing mud. We already have a baseline of our mud mixture. We're adding some fresh mud here, and then I'm also going to add a little bit of leather conditioner to it. Same thing here, avoiding the laces, nice thin application. The whole thing behind the mud is they won't tell anybody where they get it from specifically. It's special mud. We're gonna allow this to dry for around an hour. We don't want it to sit on there for too long. It becomes much harder to get off the longer it sits on the football. Again, we're hot and dry here, so this will dry pretty quickly. Typically only mud about 6 to 8 footballs at a time, just because it takes 7 minutes per ball to remove the mud. It can be kind of time consuming on days when you're running in and out of the equipment room. I said you don't want to leave that mud on, so I don't want to mud more than I could possibly remove in a single day. We'll just allow these to sit right here, rest and dry for about an hour. Then we'll come back, brush off the mud with our firm bristle brush, and put on the finishing touches. Step 8 now, you can see that the mud has dried on the football. We're gonna go ahead and brush off the mud now.
When we're brushing the mud off, we try to avoid these logos. These logos are important for identifying the football, so I don't want to scrape them off with the brush. I don't want to damage them at all, so I completely avoid them, and then I just use the wet end of my towel here to kind of clean up the logos.
All right, we got the mud off a couple of these footballs now. We're going to do one of the last steps, which is add another layer of the conditioner to the ball, let that dry on. Then all we'll have to do is do a manual brush and re-inflate our footballs, and we'll be ready to go. A lot of the mudding element is color. It's gonna give it that darker color, but then being that it's a lot of aesthetic and some of its feel, you add that conditioner to it so that you're also providing some benefits. Mud by itself would just be an element that would dry out the leather. We got our mud off. Our conditioner is now dried. Our last steps here is going with a nice soft bristle, long bristle brush. We're just gonna buff that conditioner. We've got a really high RPM there when the brush is spinning. For certain steps, it's good. Found that high RPM is not ideal for this final step. We've done all the work we need to. Now it's just a gentle buff to make that conditioner kind of pop. Now that the ball's been buffed, we gotta get it back up to regulation PSI. We deflated all these footballs to 6 PSI prior to prep. Regulation is between 12.5 and 13.5. So let's go use our Wilson Haltech ball inflator to get it back up to PSI. Boom, ready to go. That's all I got for you. The life of a football is a funny story. I think it could be a short film, and it might not always end well. The life of a football, typically for like a practice football, I'd say 3 weeks in the quarterback bag, but then that ball's life can continue on. It can go to one of the other position bags.
That's why I need more football. We only got 2 footballs for the drill.
Which is a great life for a football, but it could also, I think the worst fate for a football would be the jugs machine. That's where some of them, the best fate would be, you're a game ball and you catch the game-winning score and then you're sitting on somebody's mantle. That'd be the best possible outcome for a football. The worst fate would be the jugs machine.